Hello there. I want to present the software project I had been working on called Timeline, which is a way to visualize events. And there was this university division, that wanted their students to have a more fun and interactive way to explore events that happened instead of just reading pages and pages of text with dates and information. So when I was assigned to this project, they gave me this concept, this idea of the timeline where they put different events on it that you could, interact with. And then we decided to use Freejs, which is a JavaScript 3D library, which is of course great to create websites. It's interactive, so we could make a cube. It's definitely higher level than WebGL to draw those graphics. And then I came up with some sketches how I would need to do this to, how to place the perspective camera and how to do the plane clipping and everything that I learned in a university course I had. I started this project as a student job during my master studies at university. Um, and then some problems I thought would come with such an isometric view, like different events overlapping in length if you just place it on there, and then how skyscrapers, place a shadow. My idea was to, if you click on the event, then to cast a shadow of the time duration of this event. And I started also sketching some different ideas, like you have a bar that you could navigate up and down, and then the events would just, come flying in as signs with information on them. Or then more like I'm used to from gaming, a plane you could actually walk on with the events put on there. So I started working on it. I started working on this isometric view. You can see the plane, the different colors, and the labels on the planes. And if you click on it, we could display text in that other field. And then the isometric prototype looked like this, where you could, traverse the timeline and then have all the events on there with their corresponding labels and colors. And if you would hover over them, it would change color to show interactivity. And if you would actually click on it, it would show the information of the event, but at the same time cast the shadow of the duration of this event. So we could visually see which other events at least started during that same time period as this event was happening. So it's certainly a more interactive and fun way to explore such a timeline. But I was still thinking about my walk view. So I just adjusted the camera, and then you can see the world is completely flat, except the numbers, because they were 3D objects placed in that scene or in this world. And so I thought about different objects that we could place there to have it more interactive. And then I came up with a 3D concept or view of that whole concept, and they really liked it. So we actually completely shifted our focus from isometric to really 3D walking experience. And then I made this prototype. So you can see there's a timeline which we can, scroll up and down, basically walk upon, so to say. There's different events, different objects that we actually can click on. You see it twitching. Then you have some teaser information that you know what it is, and if you want more information, you can have a look at it. This prototype was more meant for playing around with different settings, because at first I wanted to make this more like a library where you could input all the parameters and it would build it for you. You can see it on here. So if you wanted different geometries, you could play around with those. So maybe something more like this. You see the twitching behavior is still there. We could, change how big they get when clicked upon. The whole twitching behavior, and then the background, how fast those stars or points in the background move, what color they have and everything. Also the objects or events itself, what color they have. and we could also, filter them. And then we could also, change the color of the timeline here, make it more white. Or then I also, implement different backgrounds for them to try out. I'm just gonna show the wave background, which is all those objects just moving up and down, but creating an ocean feeling, so to say, on this application. So that was the prototype, and then we simply uh, took that prototype and finished or polished it. Oh, here I wanted to show those are all the parameters that you could export from that prototype at first. Um, it's stored in the cookies, but then the live version now looks like this. This is just a spinner showing that it's loading all the data needed to build the world. You can see it here. It's way more calm than the prototype. You have all these events. You have additionally those time frames, and you can also see which events are actually related to. There's a relationship even between events. Which events relate to each other. We can also see more information about it and which meta events it is connected to, and then there are also links to more information. So that's the current live version or instance that the division uses or made for the students to interactively explore those events instead of reading papers. Um, the other thing is I included also a Stroppy backend, so that's just a website where you basically can edit or insert all the data, because at the beginning of this project they would give us or give me just a single Word document with over 80 pages of text and pictures inside of them, and we parsed them into data retrieved from an API, and lots of things then could just go wrong because Word has so much freedom. So I wanted a more structured way, not only for those that insert the data to more clearly see what's missing or what's needed, but also for the front end to have a clear structure to receive in those JSON responses. And yeah, I made the code open source for the whole community to, profit, maybe inspect it, learn from it, or, adapt it to their own projects if they want such a timeline, or, even run their own instance. I made a Dockerized version. I'm going to show it here. This is the GitLab repo. So I put all the Stroppy code in this backend folder, and then all the Freejs Webpack static build code into this front-end folder. And then I added this Docker compose file, and that's what I wanted to show. If you have Docker running on your system, you can actually run this application on your local station here and have a look at it. So we simply download this file. I'm going to show real quick how it's done. So then we can simply open a terminal and go into our downloads folder, and then simply run docker compose up and of course detach it. And now it will pull the images that are needed. I made the Stroppy already provided the Stroppy base Docker image where I could simply, use that and then add the schematics that I did. I added some sample data to it, and I customized the API responses because there was a lot of attributes like created that and things I didn't need for the front end, but that just made the JSON response unusually or unnecessarily large. The front end, I simply used the Docker image with Alpine that would start a Nginx server to serve the static website. This is all in production build, and now you can see it pulled those images from the registry from this repository registry, and then started those Docker containers. And now you can actually inspect the application locally. It's running by going to localhost, and then on port 7001 is the front end running. So you can see here it's just just sample data input in here. It's just some few events that also have a relation for you to see that. And then there's also the backend on port 7000. You can see there's a Stroppy instance running. If we're going to the dashboard, I configured a user called admin at example.ch and admin1234. It's all in the repository listed. And then of course, you can change the password and everything, but you can see all the backend data here. You can see all the events. You could add your own events. You see what's needed. There's a title, the dates, the teaser, the image, the content, and then you can see you can relate it to other events or other events that relate to this event, the time spans that it belongs to, the type that it is, which will determine the color in which it is shown in the front end. And yeah, and if of course you put a new event in here, you can simply refresh your front end, and then you would see the event popping up here. So that's it for the Dockerist. You can of course also clean up your system again. I added the command here to stop all the containers and remove those images, and then your system is clean again. But yeah, that's the whole project, that's the whole code. I hope maybe the community can profit by, you know, maybe someone else having an instance running or adapting the code to their needs, to their project, or just simply learn from different concepts that we did here. And yeah, that's what I wanted to show, and thank you for watching.